Great. And Kylie, you've studied the impacts of bleaching events, hurricanes, diseases on coral. How does I.CARE use science to ensure that the corals you transplant, like the ones on Alligator Victory and the ones where we outplanted corals last week, Rocky Top reefs, thrive? What methods are you putting into place to help that happen?
So most of those methods, and this was kind of what I was referencing in the last question you asked me, it really comes with where we get our corals from. And we get them from a lot of different partners, and it seems like each partner is doing their own method behind trying to provide corals that have the highest chance of survival. So for example, one of our biggest partners is Mote Marine Laboratory. They were our first partner that gave us corals, and so they're still very, very important to us. We have a great relationship with them, where they are breeding corals that go through a series of experiments where they get put in raceways where they have increased water temperatures and lower pH levels to levels that they experience on the reef and what they anticipate they'll be experiencing over the next several decades. And then with those survivors, they're crossbreeding and creating new genets that will try to have those resistant, resilient characteristics from those other genotypes. So the amount of genetic diversity that they're creating is incredible. So that's kind of one strategy. We also have some great partnerships with the Florida Aquarium and the Reef Institute, and they have rescue corals. Those corals came from the reef here in Florida, and they were brought back to their facilities, and they're spawned there. And so we know that these colonies survived what was out naturally on the reef, but we don't know much about those, what are called sexual recruits, the babies that are coming from those spawning efforts. And so we get those corals, we put them out, we're monitoring them, looking at the performance in different environments, and providing that data back to those partners. We also get corals from Reef Renewal USA. That organization is run by Ken Niedermeyer, and they have corals that stayed in their nursery through the heating event of 2023, and they survived. So again, we know that those genotypes, they're strong stock, and we can use those to go back into our shallow water environments. And then most recently, we have started providing corals for ourselves. And so that's a program that we go out and we collect what are called corals of opportunity. These are larger corals that have become detached from the reef structure, whether it's through storm damage or anchoring issues. And we rescue those corals, we bring them to land, and we fragment them and throw them out and take care of them in our land-based coral, our land-based coral nursery with the Keys Marine Lab, and then we get to put them into our outplanting stock. So even those corals, they're bouldering corals, they're larger corals. These guys are slow growers, so in order to get to a size that we're pulling in, they've survived the bleaching events of 2014, 15, and 2023, the cold snap of 2010, stony coral tissue loss disease that started outbreaking back in 2014, I think is when that started. Hurricane, scouring, they've survived a lot, and so everything that we're doing has its own strategy of trying to hedge our bets that what we're putting out has the highest chance of surviving. And then we're monitoring those corals. We have a rigorous program where we're monitoring them up to 3 years so we can see who survives, but I think more importantly, who doesn't. And so that way we're able to identify which genetic strains and which species do we want to focus our efforts on or not focus our efforts on different sites.
Great.